How do people actually get rich? It's a question that I hadn't really explored until recently. Now, I didn't come from wealth, but I also didn't grow up without it either. I've seen both sides. And for most of my 20s, I was focused on chasing experiences, not chasing money. But things have shifted. And over the last 5 years, I've dived deep into understanding the path to building wealth. What I've learned has completely changed how I've approached my life and my goals. And today, in this video, I'm going to share those insights with you. So if you've ever wondered how to really build wealth, keep watching and let's dive in. Welcome to the video. If you're new here, my name is Hunter. I am an online entrepreneur, a wannabe professional athlete, and I run a software company that is growing 20% month on month, as well as a creator business that generates over $100,000 per month. But to be honest, it wasn't always that way. And in fact, it wasn't until recently that I really sat down and intentionally researched and learned the path to build wealth. And it's interesting because when you ask people how to become wealthy, well, the answers are varied. So canceling out marrying into money, winning the lottery, and gambling in the stock market, there are 3 paths to building wealth, and they are a high-income job, investing, and building a business. Now, personally, I did go to university, but I learned very quickly that the traditional path of climbing the corporate ladder was definitely not for me. And I actually think there's nothing wrong with that. And if you're somebody who wants to be the CTO of Apple, or you want to have a career in a specific industry, there is definitely a path there. But with that said, it's important to note purely from a wealth generation perspective is that the amount of time it takes to get into the job pool for high-income jobs like being a CTO or a corporate executive is decades. And if you want to pursue a career in law or medicine, well, you have to spend nearly a decade and hundreds of thousands of dollars in student debt to even get started in that career. Not to mention, high-income employees are the highest tax individuals, meaning that nearly half of what you make as a CTO or a doctor gets taken by the government. Now, on the flip side, they're starting a business. And if you ask me, this is the best option. With a business, you do not have an income ceiling. You can set structures to minimize your taxes legally, and the path to income generation is infinitely faster. But the question is, what is the right business to start and how? And that is the point of this video. This is the question that I think most people, including myself, never consider asking first. And it's actually the most important question. Let me explain. Now, generally speaking, there are 2 types of businesses. There are cash flow businesses and there are growth businesses. Cash flow businesses are businesses that generate a lot of money without the need for a lot of upfront investment or operational costs. In other words, you don't need a lot of money, if any, to start them. And more importantly, they do not require very much money to manage them. What this basically means is that the money that you make from that business goes to you and not towards paying a large team or investing in inventory or any other operational costs that go along with managing that business. Now, I think most people new to business, myself included, don't know to actually think about this. And they start a business based on an idea they have or something they heard from a friend or they saw in an ad, not knowing what it actually takes to get that type of business to a place where they themselves can actually pay themselves what they want to make. For example, let's say that you had an idea for an app. Well, first, you would have to hire a team of developers, which would cost tens of thousands of dollars a month. You could hire an agency, but technically that would be a large upfront chunk of money. And then you would have to find a way to get that app in front of people, which would require you to run Facebook ads or influencer marketing, both of which cost money. And then in order to even get to the point of profitability, you would need to get thousands of users. Now, that's not impossible, but definitely not the type of business to start if you're trying to generate income for yourself every single month. And especially if you're new to business. Now, if I was starting off, I would focus on building a cash flow business. You don't need much money to start them. You don't need much money to manage them. And the majority of the money that you do make goes to you and not paying for the business to operate. Now, these are businesses like coaching and consulting, selling an online course or building a paid community, or starting a service business like web design or logo design, or starting an SMMA business, which we've all heard about. And it's interesting to note, there's a reason why the top creators that we all know go into doing online education, even the ones who are already making money in some other business model like Airbnb or e-com or Section 8 real estate, because digital businesses like courses and communities are the most profitable and the easiest to scale. Now, this is the foundation. And once you have a business that pays you and allows you to make a stable living every single month, you can then move to the next type of business, which is a growth business. Now, these are the businesses that we all know: Amazon, Facebook, Uber. These are also the types of businesses where you generate massive wealth. Now, this is done in 2 ways. First, you need to build that business to a really high value, which is a marathon, not a sprint, and 9 times out of 10, it takes a lot of money and years to do so. That's why these types of businesses are not the best to start if you're new to business, because they don't necessarily generate money for the founder, but rather once you're able to get that business to a certain point, the founder can either sell that business for a massive windfall of money, or they can go public and make money in the form of owning stock in that business. Now, those are the two types of businesses: cash flow businesses and growth businesses. And as I mentioned in the title of this video, I want to explain how I'm following a model of starting these types of businesses to build massive wealth and how many of the biggest creators you know are doing the same. Now, right now, I have a cash flow business with my partner, Amy. We have a high-ticket coaching program that teaches coaches, consultants, and creators how to build a paid community. Now, we show them how to build a strong offer, how to build a sales system, and how to build a content marketing strategy to attract customers and clients. Now, this is a really lean business, and it doesn't require a ton of money to run. There's no inventory to manage like you would have with a physical product business. There's not a large team to manage like you would have with an agency. It is simple, but it also generates over $100,000 per month. Now, with this income, we're able to pay for our lifestyle. We're able to set aside money to invest every single month on autopilot, which is one of the 3 ways to build wealth, as I mentioned. And we're able to fund our growth business, which is MemberUp. Now, MemberUp is a software company that we've spent the last 3 years building, and it is a platform where creators, entrepreneurs, and influencers can build and host their online community. Now, notice a theme here. We have a cash flow business that teaches creators how to build a paid community, and then we have a software company that allows creators to host their online community business. Now, as I mentioned, the goal with our cash flow business is to pay for our lifestyle, to invest monthly, and to fund our growth business, which is MemberUp. But the goal of MemberUp is to build it to the point where the company has a very high valuation, and that is where massive wealth is built. Now, when you look at other creators out there, there's a very similar model that they are all following. Iman Gachi, for example, has his education company, which is called Educate. He also has his software company called Flowzy. Alex Ramosi built his wealth through Gym Launch, and now he's going all in on a software company. Another example is my friend Luke, who has a business that teaches people how to trade options. Now, the trading education company is the cash flow business, but he's also building a charting software for traders to use, which would be the growth business that he can sell. So what does this mean for you, and why am I sharing this? Well, first off, I think there is a lot of value in building in public and sharing this journey, but also I want this to be a blueprint that you can follow if you're somebody who wants to build massive wealth in the creator economy. Now, first off, if there's a skill that you can teach or a hobby that you're passionate about, you could build a cash flow business. And then once you have that business running and paying yourself, then you can move on to building a growth business. And even so, let's say you don't want to build a growth business. Let's say you're totally cool with making $50K or $100K a month with your cash flow business. That's great. But I will say the growth business is for people who want to get that high net worth and make a massive windfall of money. Also, not to mention, your growth business does not have to be a software company. For example, my neighbor here in Malibu, his name is Mark Sisson. He's like one of the OGs in the paleo health community, started as a health coach, but then he built Primal Kitchen, which is a paleo product company. He recently sold that company for $200 million. So he built the cash flow business, which was health coaching. Then once he had an audience, he went all in on his growth business and built massive wealth. So I guess the point of this video is to share what I'm working on. I hope that gives you some clarity on how you can do the same as well. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme by any means. In fact, the process is not easy and it's going to take years, but it is simple. And I honestly think that anybody could do it if you're willing to play the long game, and I'm excited to be doing it. So with that all said, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you and any ideas that you actually have when it comes to following this blueprint. And also, if you want to see more of the journey of building MemberUp, subscribe to the channel. And finally, if you're somebody who wants to build a cash flow business like I did and get started with that, head over to Instagram and you can send me a DM. I'd love to hear from you. I can share some more insights there on how I was able to get started with it. Until next time, I'll see you guys. Peace.